Going to make a video. It's pretty much common sense, but a lot of people don't know what an aerographer is, and a lot of pilots, we go to that sort of school. It's aerography. I went to Naval Air Station, NAS, where I met one of the loves of my life. Here's her name. It's Lieutenant Holly Ann. Look at me. Look at how organized I am. Met her about the summer of 1989. Fell deeply in love with the girl. What caused these tornadoes? Was it global warming? It's more like the hoaxers actually are at fault for this. Yeah, I know you're going to say. This was human hands that did these devastating tornadoes. Just so you know, I'm broadcasting to you from my beautiful hillbilly mansion near the world's most impetuous slum, which has more potholes than residents, Hazleton, PA. I don't live in Hazleton. I'm in a suburb outside, thank God, but I'm right near the shithole and the asshole of America. So I can speak factually and freely here about what did happen, okay? It was human hands. We had a professor, something David Gray or whatever, I forget the first name. He was arrested for setting the fires and trapping firefighters, and so far our Department of Justice, I can't get any real accurate information on the guy, let alone a frickin' name. But there was actually 3 of them that were arrested. Now, whether they're going to escape justice or Trump's coming back into office, something's got to give here. What I want to tell you is some facts about fire. And I have that here somewhere on paper. And unless I left it up in my office, okay? If you look up the flame of a candle itself, okay? Or you boil water. A lot of early U.S. Navy warships were powered by steam. You can't put your hand above a pot of water, but you can steam vegetables, which turn the vegetables malleable. They turn them soft, that you can eat them. And if you harness enough pressure and enough steam, you can actually move mechanical equipment. That's how hot fire gets. Well, that's what happened to our atmosphere. Okay? I am still in contact with Holly Ann, with the lieutenant, and she was on the Bonham Richard, which has been scrapped so far due to the fire, and she is now on the Macon Island. She loves the WASP class LDH utility ships. They really are an adventure because they go everywhere in the world. Everywhere there's a conflict, those ships are usually right in the middle of it, which she's like me. She likes action. She don't like to sit on her ass. Bunsen burner, okay, convection, okay? Convection is like my next picture here, okay? I don't know if you can see the facts how hot a flame gets. Even the coldest part, okay, is almost 1,400 freaking degrees, okay? This is what they're doing to our atmosphere. Picture a ship, a Navy ship. It makes a wake. It's much like a flame, much like my chimney up there, which Santa Claus will never fit his fat ass down that, but I'm going to school you people that a ship makes a wake. A fire does the same thing. It burns hot. JPL Laboratories in Nassau said you can feel that flame from those forest fires all the way out into outer space. 15 to 20 miles above the earth, that flame is still hot. So when you superheat your atmosphere and it radiates out, just like that fire's there and the air parts and the air gets thinner, and it also thins the ozone, okay? This is what caused the tornadoes, is WHACKOS, human hands. Not to mention they're clearing swaths of land, especially up here. My buddy just noticed the temperature near his house is not quite normal. Ever since they built this gargantuan warehouse and plowed down the forest, he thought he lived in the woods up until some developer from this Miracle Group bought this property. And he actually noticed that there is a change, and where he had no grass, where it used to be forest, even though he has trees there, the sun is now, because of them other departed trees, is coming through his trees. It's thinning the foliage on his trees, where they're starting to catch that blight, that atmospheric blight, which a lot has to do with these fires, okay? What goes up must come down because of gravity. And a lot of that residual ash, especially from buildings, polyurethanes, foams, That stuff lands on our foliage after these huge fires, and it creates disease and fungus in the trees. What caused this tornado outbreak in 2021 is your leftist wackos. Your hero, your main leftist wacko, Biden, and the other ding-dong, pig vomit Pelosi, they're still at it. And there's going to be more, unless they are stopped. I hate to tell people, I came into Panama. There was dictators removed before Noriega. The other one, what the hell was his name? Over there in Africa. I'll tell you, the best guy that had an explanation for what I'm trying to say was Moshe Dayan. He was a bit of a bullshit artist, wasn't real trustworthy, but every now and then he came out with something pretty factual. Okay? This was human hands that caused this, okay? No dictator has ever been removed by public shaming, calling them names, media shaming, all the other motivations. Most dictators were taken out with a bullet. That was the United States style to remove a dictator. Most dictators like Hitler, Stalin, Lenin, they all had an end, and it was on the other end of a rifle, unfortunately. I think they said Hitler took his own life. I highly doubt that. He might have lived to be a fat, dumb, happy old man down in Bolivia, like they said he was in Bolivia, Colombia, South America. And that's all possible, too. But he was no longer in power. He was removed, which is what has to happen to this leftist faction that is destroying our country, okay? This was human hands that caused these freak weather incidents, okay? JPL Laboratories has a bulletin out on it. It's been pulled down. We have a government that wants to keep you stupid. And that's why they're going to Common Core, and you don't really have to be educated to go out in the world. Well, I say you do, because if not, the world's going to snowplow you. Like they're trying to snowplow us, the taxpayer, the educated. I went to Naval Air Station, Pensacola. I got my education there. One was a satellite campus for Penn State. The other one was a satellite campus for Lehigh University. Because a lot of people say, well, why don't you have an actual university certificate, master's degree? Why does it say sponsored by United States Navy on my degree? Well, it came out of Cracker Jacks. That's why it says United States Navy on my degree. Naval Air Station, Pensacola, Florida, they have a great meteorology laboratory. So does San Diego, for that fact. And the other one up in the Great Lakes is not Great Lakes, Illinois, where the boot camp is. It's escaping me. But there's another one up in Illinois, and there's another one up near, I think it's Portsmouth, Oregon, up in the Oregon, just before Washington State, the border there. There's another Naval Air Station there, and there's one in Alaska. They do a lot of meteorological work and monitoring and metering. If you're noticing an unusually warm winter, like up here, I'm out in December in just this light clothing in the Northeast. Yes, these incidents, okay, these fires are what heats up the atmosphere. It burns holes in the ozone, so the sun, like now, it's so strong here. You can actually feel heat coming from the sun. Well, you burn enough ozone out of the atmosphere with those big fires, and believe me, they were big fires out there. You couldn't even tell some places where there were houses or multiple neighborhoods. They were just black ash. You couldn't even tell unless you really looked and looked for foundations and concrete. But I mean, even the cars the cars were melted so hard they looked like gross sculptures. You know, something those people up in New York put out in the freaking park for you to look at. I hope I sufficiently explained that anytime you heat something, okay, anytime there's a flame, the hottest part of the flame is over 1,500 degrees, okay? It's almost, what, 4,000 degrees Celsius, or 2,500 degrees, rather. It's 2,500 degrees, 1,400 Celsius. I am not up on my metric. That was not in my day. That's why I corrected myself. I knew I was wrong. I don't really interpret SAE, American equivalents, right away to metrics. It takes me a little math, or I got to look in my book to tell you guys the truth. But if you put your hand above a flame, you can't keep your hand there. You got to think of what that's like, okay? I remember as a kid, as I end my video, when Mount St. Helens erupted, how many years ago? We really didn't have winter here. We didn't have snow. That ash blanket that was floating, it blocked out a lot of sun, and it actually kept warm. You'd think it would get colder, like a nuclear winter they call, but it actually kept the heat in. So most of the winters for 5 or 6 years there, back when I was a kid, most of the time it was tepid and it rained. You didn't get snow, you didn't get heavy weather events. Okay? That was due to Mount St. Helens. And Mount St. Helens stayed, it just wasn't one eruption. It was erupting up until it blew its top, and it was erupting for a period of months after that. So that stays in the atmosphere for a year or two. And Mount St. Helens, it smoldered for a year or two, and it still acts up from time to time and spews ash. And that'll bring warm, like cloudy days, and you'll say, geez, it should be cold today, there's no sun. Well, that's because where the sun was, that warmth is trapped underneath that weather front that moves in. Okay, there's meteorological terms. I forget a lot of it. Most of us pilots had to have the aerography and meteorological experiences, so we knew enough not to fly into certain weather conditions, or when you were up on the horizon and you seen something coming at you, you actually had a natural explanation and you were trained to either avoid the weather front or, call your tower, call your ship, and find out what to do. So that's my experiences. I have some knowledge in this, and I know what caused these tornadoes. It was human hands. It was not a freak weather event the way they want to invent things. I know this leftist media likes to spin bullshit. Uncle Dutch, I'm your Pennsylvania Dutch uncle. I don't spin bullshit stories. Thanks, guys, and I hope you spread around, okay, what really caused that tornado outbreak, because there's your facts. I'm going to enjoy my bad habits. See, I know this isn't good for me. That's why I waited to the end of the video. Gave me a couple more minutes of life. Thanks, guys.